listening to Regenerative Artivism, Asian women's creative strategies for social and ecological futures. I'm your host, Mei-Qing Wang, an art historian working in contemporary Asian art and the environmental humanities. In each episode, we explore how Asian women artists, curators, and community organizers use creative, place-based practice to confront social and the environmental injustice and cultivate the more livable futures. Thank you for joining me. Let's begin.
Welcome to Season 2. If you are new here, I'm glad you find your way in. And if you listened through Season 1, welcome back. This short prologue is here for one purpose, to name what is different in this season, so that Episode 1 can begin right away, with a place, a person, and a story. Season 1 leaned into landscapes and live worlds you can almost touch, creeks, kitchens, villages, soil. It asked what regenerative artivism looks like when artists choose to stay close to damaged places and work with others in a slow time of repair. Season 2 keeps the regional focus. We are still in the Greater China region, moving across Taiwan, mainland China, and Macau. But the organizing question shifts. This season asks, what makes regenerative work last? Not just emotionally, not just ethically, but materially and socially. What are the infrastructures of regeneration? When I say infrastructure here, I do not mean only highways and dams. I mean the enabling conditions that let care and creativity become durable. A residency that does not treat a place as a backdrop. A neighborhood apartment that becomes an archive and a mutual aid station. A disability-led festival that makes access part of the artwork itself. A museum that learns how to behave like a commons. A theater collective that turns listening into social ecology. A heritage network that tries to protect local life, even while development and tourism push in. If that sounds abstract, let me make it concrete with 3 listening lenses. You can keep these in the back of your mind as you move through the season. First lens, material infrastructure. Where does the work actually happen? Who pays for the rent, the printing, the transportation, the hosting, the quiet labor that keeps a project running? What kinds of spaces are being built or borrowed? And what are the limits of those spaces? Second lens, social infrastructure. Regeneration is not only an environmental problem, it's a relationship problem. So listen for trust, routine, accountability, care work that's often invisible. Listen for how groups handle conflict, burnout, and uneven participation. And listen for what happens when a project has to outlive its founding moment. Third lens, epistemic infrastructure. This is the infrastructure of knowledge and memory, the archive, the publication, the protocol, the teaching method. These are the forms that keep a fragile story from disappearing and keep a minor experience from being overwritten. With those lenses in mind, here's what you can expect across 6 episodes. Episode 1 begins in a suburb north of Taipei, near a river basin that has seen urban pressure and ecological strain, and it follows the founding of Bamboo Curtain Studio. We meet Xiao Lihong, and we ask what it means to build an art residency as a living ecological institution, not a temporary cultural event. Episode 2 moves to Shanghai, to a neighborhood shaped by demolition and redevelopment. We follow Chen Yun and the Dinghaiqiao Mutual Aid Society, where a rented apartment becomes a gathering place, an archive, a classroom, and a site of everyday collaboration. Here, regeneration looks like the stubborn practice of staying with neighbors, while the ground shifts under your feet. Episode 3 turns to disability arts in Beijing. We spend time with Ge Hui Chao, and we ask what happens when access is not an afterthought, but a creative grammar. This episode treats accessibility as a form of cultural infrastructure, one that reshapes what art can do and who it can hold. Episode 4 returns us to Guangzhou, to the dense social ecology of an urban village. We follow Liu Yang's work, and we ask whether a museum can learn to behave like a neighborhood commons, and what happens when the commons is built at the scale of a tiny loom, in a city where so many residents are migrant workers, and so much life is precarious. What does it mean to build cultural entitlement, not just cultural programming? Episode 5 takes us to Macau, a place many people know through casinos and tourism, but that also contains quiet worlds of community practice. We meet Debbie Dai and the Zero Distance Cooperative, Macau's playback theater company. Here, storytelling is not entertainment. It's social repair. It's a way to metabolize grief, conflict, and ecological anxiety without letting people drift into isolation. Episode 6 brings us to Quanzhou, a coastal city shaped by layered histories and contested futures. We follow Zheng Dazheng's work on West Street, where heritage is treated as living commons rather than a sealed museum label. This final episode stays honest about a hard question. When does regeneration sustain local life? And when does it become branding, displacement, and curated nostalgia? So that's Season 2, Infrastructures of Regeneration, the enabling conditions, the slow scaffolding, the systems of care, access, memory, and space that let creative practice become something more than a moment. One more practical note. You do not need to listen to this prologue first. You can jump straight into episode 1. But if you like having a map in your pocket, I hope this gives you one.
Thank you for listening to Regenerative Artivism, Asian women's creative strategies for social and ecological futures. Until next time, take care of yourself and take care of the places that sustain you.